It was a stormy night in the heart of London. Rain fell like sheets of glass, and the streets were eerily empty. Steve, a seasoned taxi driver, was used to strange fares, but nothing could prepare him for what was about to happen. He was driving down a long, winding road when he saw a woman standing by the side of the road, drenched, with her arm raised. Her pale skin and soaked dark hair were the only things visible through the downpour. Steve hesitated. There was something unsettling about her, but she looked like she desperately needed help. Against his better judgment, he pulled over. She climbed into the back seat without a word. Her clothes clung to her, as though they had been soaked for hours. Steve noticed something odd. No matter how hard he squinted into the rearview mirror, her face remained obscured by the shadows. "Where to?" he asked, trying to shake off the unease creeping up his spine. "Take me to the cemetery," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rain hammering against the windows. Steve's heart skipped a beat. "The cemetery? Are you sure, miss? It's late, and the weather." "Just drive," she interrupted, her tone sharp and emotionless. Steve gripped the steering wheel tightly and drove in silence. Every now and then, he glanced in the mirror, but no matter how hard he tried, her face remained hidden. He turned up the heat to warm the cab, but the chill in the air persisted. As they neared the cemetery, Steve's unease grew. He had never liked this area, especially at night. Rumors swirled about it being haunted. Some locals spoke of hearing strange cries and seeing figures wandering through the mist that often enveloped the place. He pulled up to the cemetery gates, which were barely visible through the fog. The woman didn't move. "Here we are," Steve said, glancing back at her seat. But she just sat there, motionless. Steve's hand shook as he reached for the meter. "Miss, we're here." Still, she didn't respond. He turned around fully this time, ready to demand payment, but his blood ran cold. The back seat was empty. The door had never opened. There was no sound of her getting out. Panic surged through him as he scrambled out of the cab, his heart racing. He rushed to the back, throwing open the door. But the seat was completely dry, no signs of rainwater, no footprints. Nothing. Steve's mind raced. There was no way she could have disappeared. He walked toward the cemetery gates, where mist clung to the ground like a shroud. And then, he saw a gravestone near the entrance, illuminated by a single flickering street lamp. Inscribed on it was the name Eleanor Maycroft, with the chilling detail, "Died September 5, 1983. That date, Steve's breath caught in his throat. It was exactly 30 years ago to the day. Suddenly, he heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps behind him. He turned around quickly, his heart pounding in his ears, but no one was there. The footsteps echoed louder, now seeming to come from all directions. A cold, eerie laugh filled the air. Steve ran back to his taxi, slamming the door shut and peeling away from the cemetery as fast as he could. His heart was still racing as he drove through the rain-soaked streets, glancing nervously in the rearview mirror every few seconds. But the nightmare wasn't over. As he sped through the streets, a faint shape began to materialize in the mirror, a figure sitting in the back seat, her wet hair dripping, and her empty, soulless eyes staring right into his. He slammed on the brakes, and the car swerved, but when he looked again, the back seat was empty. Steve never drove near that cemetery again. But every rainy night, he can't help but feel a presence in the back seat, watching him, waiting for her final ride. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more chilling tales, don't forget to give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future horror stories. See you in the next one, if you dare.